It's just something that I live. Hey, it's just something that I live that this world don't live. It's just something that I feel that this world don't feel. I gotta keep it real. J.E. Get 'em.
Welcome to the Let Bob podcast. I am the host, Anthony, aka Ant. I got my main man Dave on here with me. We're gonna give Dave an opportunity to show the world what's up. I'm gonna do my thing. We just two country boys in finance, man, trying to change the culture. I'm originally from McCall, Alabama. It's a rural city outside of Birmingham. Like, man, I grew up straight country, man. Like deer, cows, in the field. My granddad, man, my family, all my family from the same community. So my mom and dad grew up across the street from each other. My wife grew up in the same community. So I just come from that, man. So when I saw I could use tech to impact the culture and finance to marry to that tech, I landed on Let Bob. And I met Dave in the midst of my journey. And so I'm gonna let him tell y'all a little bit about himself. And then we're gonna tell y'all a little bit more about the podcast, what we're trying to do with it.
Yeah, my name's Dave from a small town called Benton, Mississippi. We don't even have a red light. Right? Grew up, so therefore a real country boy, like I say. And from there, I moved to the big city. Well, not the big city, the capital of our city, which is Jackson, Mississippi, and attended the Jackson State University. After that, kind of moved around. I stayed in Atlanta, stayed in Memphis, stayed in LA for a second, but then I'm making Houston home. So let's see what we got.
Yeah, man. I ain't even talk about the old FAMU. I'm a FAMU grad, man. Dave over there at Jackson State.
Yeah.
But now I was at FAM. I stayed in Florida for a little while. I came back home though. I'm in Birmingham, man. I'm my family here, so I just had to come back to the house, man. I just love being around family. I got into the finance space kind of on accident, you know. So I got my degree in computer information systems. So I was more of a techie. I saw this dude named Curtis Carroll. He was in prison. This was in 2017. He was in prison. They had him on YouTube talking about how he taught himself how to trade. And so when I saw that, man, I saw that his trading strategy he had on paper. And because I was a techie, I was like, man, it's got to be a way to like automate that, like use code to do that, make the computer think like a person. And so little I know, that was spark my journey in this space, and that's how I would get into finance and the stock market, get exposed. And man, I ain't turned back. So when I got started, I know what I was doing, man. I was trying to figure it out, and that's how I crossed Dave's path, man. Now he was doing some business over in the A, and I linked up with him and showed him what I had going on, man. It just tied right. Like our spirits just. Like we just fed off each other just instantly. So it kind of grew into what you see right now, because the catch was you don't see a lot of people who look like us in the finance space.
None.
So when I crossed Dave, I was like, man, hey,
unicorn. Like a unicorn.
I was like, what up? Like, man, we got the link. We got to work together. You know, that was just immediate. And so that's how I got in it with Dave. You can tell them how you got in the space, man.
Like, for me, honestly, I was broke. And I was sitting around, I was like, man, I need to make some money. Like, I need to make real money. So, you know, who do we see got real money from our community? The athletes, the dope boys.
Yep, dope boy.
Those type people, like entertainers, celebrities. So for me, I was trying to figure out a way, like, man, like, how do they make the money? So then I started looking at Forbes. So I used to always like go through the Forbes list. Like at one point in time, I could tell you like the first 60 people on the Forbes list. Like I go through and I look at they have industries, like how they make their money. And I kept seeing investments. So then I started to like dig into it. I'm like you actually just put your money up and you go out and do something else, and the money is actually working for you. And I said to myself, you know what? That's something that I need to like hone in on. And from there, I just started reading more, getting into it. And then once I actually figured out and understood, like that's where most of your wealth, besides real estate, come from. Yeah. The difference between real estate is like you need other parties to like contribute. With investment, you just put the money in, like the whole world contributes to you actually making more money.
Yep. Nah, you dead on with that though. Like I had done so many different things business wise early. I had a nightclub before. Man, I washed cars when I was in school, man. So it was one way I put myself through college. I had vending machines. Man, I sold fire. I did a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But what I saw when I got to the stock market investing piece was what you said, Dave. Like all the dependencies were removed, right? All I needed was a computer, internet connection, and a little money, and I could do something. And so I was hooked. And shit.
Yeah. That's why I said the same thing with me. Is like I've been in so many different businesses, just like Ant. We talk about it. Me and him probably had the most jobs and most businesses that like from everything from like say nightclubs, cleaning services, trucking companies, just a whole array of different things. And the thing that for me the common denominator was like believing and trusting in other people. Like I had like for instance in trucking, I had some big contracts. The driver don't show up. So guess what happens now? Boom. It's my company, so the sole responsibility falls on me, lose the contract. So I just got tired of like depending on people and they let me down. So like Anthony said, you just need 4 things. You need trading account, money, internet connection, and a computer. And it's you and your skill set, right? Once I figured that part of it out, it was like, man, look, everything else, I'm cool with it, but my 100% focus is going to be on this because I control this situation.
Yeah. And so with that, like even when I was in school, going to HBCU, you know, going to FAM was just different for me because I came from a country, came from college, and you ain't see a lot of professional blacks like the way I grew up. The richest person I knew when I grew up was my uncle Dexter. Yeah, and he's a lawyer, so that's that. He was always dressed fancy when he comes. So I was thinking like that's why I'm gonna try to be like or whatever. And he was like the most classy professional black that I knew, just because of where I was from. Little did I know he wasn't rich at the time. He was just starting his practice, but I thought he was. And so I got the FAMU. That's kind of what the spirit was, man. It was just a lot of blacks doing well. And so I just fell in love with it. And then when I started to learn about this tech play and what you could do with the internet, I always envisioned being able to create something that could help the culture. I asked my Uncle Dex actually sent me an essay I had to write for a grant when I was at FAMU. And man, it was crazy because in that essay, I talked about creating software for the culture. And that was in 2005.
Wow.
Crazy, ain't it, man?
Yeah. It's amazing how stuff happen like that.
But nah, man, I look at it like let Bob, it's that movement, man. It's more than, you know, products that we put out in the marketplace. It's a movement in general. You know, correct. Bob stands for Black-owned business. Our core mission is to impact the culture, man. Like bridge this wealth gap. We want to show more people who look like us in this finance space, because that's how you preserve and build true wealth. This is where generational wealth can happen. And so in creating the app under our Let Bob brand, like that was a direct focus. Like, here you go. Here go an access point that don't require anything other than some money. That's it. Yeah. Ain't no barrier to entry. You got a little money.
That's a game changer. Game changer, because like my journey, even getting into this whole finance thing is like insane, right? Like, so I've been in a decade in. So back then, there weren't no black traders. If they were black traders, they were not dealing with you. Trust me, they like you had to be in the like most of the good old boys club or the Ivy League club. Like that community was a very, very small community, right? They're not letting you in, right? So now, you know, post COVID is when like the whole world just like boom. Everybody's a trader now. Everybody's into finance. Everybody's to this because the world slowed down, and like people finally realize, like, wait, hold up, people are actually getting wealthy from the stock market, right? In our community, a lot of people were afraid. People are afraid, right? So when I first started my journey a decade ago, I tried like when I got introduced to this, I went around like begging everyone, hey man, let me come teach you this. Let's collaborate. Let's build. This is where you need to be. This is where you need to be putting your money at. At the period of time, you had people I had people around me had millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars. They wouldn't even put a dollar in it because they're so fearful of the unknown, right? Little did they know, all these people, these mansions, these Ferraris, these Benzes, everybody who's doing very, very well, guarantee you 90% of them have money in the stock market.
Yep.
Right. So now, like you say, full circle, that's what Bob and that's what the app is about. It's about the voices, people that want to get in the stock market, but they actually don't have the time or actually don't know the people that they actually trust that they can actually get inside of the stock market. This is what the app is going to do. All you got to do is plug the money in, let the same tech that we use to run major things actually work in their favor, which is a game changer.
Yep. Nah, you dead on, man. So like the thought process though is like, if we can get the culture invested, you know what I mean? Then you get that experience and then you can create a true movement, because to have like true change, man, we gotta have capital. We gotta have money, man. Like, and you gotta have money that's gonna be generational money. You know what I mean? Just having money or just they having money, like we limit it to what we can impact. But see, if we can create a culture that's got capital, that's working for them on a daily basis, that don't require them to be, you know, experts in the space or truly highly knowledgeable in the space like we are, then you make change. You make real change.
Man, to cut you off, but because like when you have capital, man, like everything that has any power or movement, like you need money, you need capital, right?
Yep.
And I think that it's so important that people like take the time out to understand the stock market, understand like what the stock market is and the power that it actually possesses. Well, you got a situation in which, let's just take, for instance, let's take an Amazon. Everybody knows Jeff Bezos, Amazon, what type of juggernaut he is out here, right? Well, just imagine if someone had to put $1,000 in Amazon IPO when it first came out, right?
Hey, wait, Dave, hold on now. You can't just throw IPO out there. We got to tell the people, what does IPO mean, my man? You got to come on now. You got to.
Well, I'm gonna break it down in the terms of this company just came out, is brand new, it just got listed on the stock market, right?
There you go.
Let's just say that. So that means now it went from private to public. So now you, aka the retail or the regular person, cannot purchase it, right? Okay. So when that occurs, that's when now you can go out and, you know, physically buy the shares of the company. And from there, you just sit back, right? And the market does everything else.
So the funny part in that experience, though, that a lot of investors or traders struggle with is, well, how long do I do that? You know, when the stock price, let's say I buy it and my purchase price is, let's say $10 a share, right? And then it moves to $30 a share. Like that psychological challenge of, do I sell? Do I hold? Yeah. You know, what do I do? And so that's where the app comes into play, because it just remove all of that, man. All those barriers to the journey of investing in the stock market. It's just, we just remove them, man. Like that's the coldest part about this app. When we drop it, man, it just removes all of that. It just really puts all the, how can I say, all the filters that's into play so we can't participate. It just removes all that, man. You got
all the X factors.
All of it. Now you playing, you working with the same type of tech they're using on Wall Street. Yeah. You talking about a way. So with our app, with Bob, the actual app, we can get 1 million Black investors with no problem.
No problem.
In all income classes. Ain't no limits to that. And so that's like the vision, man, to get as much as the culture exposed to the stock market by way of investing.
Empowerment.
That's true empowerment. You giving a tool. So it's one thing for us to get on here and talk to you about what the benefits of the stock market is and what you can do with it. But it's another thing to talk about it and say, okay, here you a tool to do it with. You know what I mean? So like that's why we excited.
Like you say, it's legacy for your family, your future generations. Like you got, so like let's just kind of go back and, you know, like for the most part, let's just take our community. What do people pass down, right? People really don't pass down anything.
Oh,
right? So we got to break that. Like
we have to raise money. Most time, not to cut you off.
You got to do.
They be like, hey man, look,
You gotta do fish play.
Man, look. Hey, let's do the fry. Car wash.
Yeah, like what's the one now? What's the tech now that you can donate the money?
Oh yeah, the crowd fund.
Man, I'm be honest with you. Like, I mean, I support people. I just like, I feel like over my time, I can't even tell you how many like funerals and situations that I had to support, and it puts people like us in a situation because they come to us, they know we got money, right? So if this a family member or a friend or someone you know, they know you got the money. Like hey, look, like on Pay the Full, you see you got the money. It's evident you got the money, right? So how can you tell these people no? Like that's a struggle with me. With my success is someone coming to me, you know, with an issue of that magnitude, and me telling them no. Like what type of person that makes me, right? And they see me at the mall or see me on Instagram or see me doing something, they like, you could have gave such and such, you know, a couple grand or $500 towards that. So we need to break that, like, because, you know, that could cause terrible relationship. Like family has fallen out over these type of situations.
Always.
Right. So,
but you got to think about it too, though. How do we, like, for us as we're on this journey, we're trying to figure out how do we set the expectation up right? Because like Dave said earlier, when you talk to the community about investing in the stock market, it's a lot of fear there. Like, man, I'm gonna lose all my money, right?
I think it's a little better now though, post-COVID.
Yeah. But then, wait a minute. That's what I was going to get to. The other side of that is, man, I'm gonna get rich.
No, you're not. Like, I mean, I'm not saying you're not, but
it's like it's a balance. It's a process. You know what I mean? This is something that it happens over time with it. You know, and it's not something that you're trying to do. Thank you. You know, it's just
but it's possible. Look, I will say this now.
Yeah, it's possible.
It is possible. Like it's possible.
A lot of people got rich yesterday.
Definitely did. Like one day.
Hey, and a lot of people lost it off yesterday too.
That is very correct. I've talked with a lot of traders, and I know people that got margin calls. Like you just can't be saying stuff. Margin call, man. What margin call? Delete that from the same. We'll follow that up in future episodes.
Hey, and that's something to think about too on the podcast, on the Let Bob podcast. Dave gonna bring y'all like some crazy updates on this market stuff, man. He gonna put a spin on it that you like though when he bring it to you.
Because I'm gonna give it to him in the terms that like Pookie from the hood.
That's what I'm talking about.
Brenda with the baby can understand, like your college student, your grandma, like because we are from the same culture. We just happen to be in finance and tech. But we can sit around and have the same conversations about your favorite rapper, like listen to NBA Youngboy, I listen to the Moneybag Yo, Future, Dolph. Like I like LeBron.
RP Dolph. RP Dolph. Got to say that. 100 shot.
Yeah, so like that's the whole reason of doing this. And like for just to touch base on what happened yesterday, since it was such a monumental day, the market went bonkers, right? Like sell off, meaning the whole entire market kept going down, down, down. Well, they said the market lost like 1.6 trillion yesterday. So therefore, that means a lot of people lost money, right? 1.6 trillion that's a nice amount of money in one day. Like I said, in future episodes, we're gonna kind of break down. I'm giving you the terminology, what's going on per week, and kind of update you in the terms that we understand what's going on in the market. All right.
Yeah, man. And so that I'm glad he said that about the losses that happened yesterday in the market, because we haven't launched the app yet, but we got some people on the app. They got that early access type stuff going on, right? And so all these people who signed up, they didn't get hit yesterday because Bob didn't invest their money.
Yeah, Bob out.
Bob out. The way the app works, it meets you where you are. So it's gonna look at what the stock market is doing, and then it's gonna look at your account, how much money you got in there. And it looks at the questions you answered when you sign up, when you open in your brokerage account. And let me back up. A brokerage account is like a checking account. However, you can buy and you can own stocks in the account. So you have to have a brokerage account in order for you to be able to invest in the stock market. So when you open your Bob account on our app, it's a brokerage account that's going to hold the stocks that Bob buy and sell for you. So the difference is versus a Robinhood, an E-Trade, TD Ameritrade, Bob is going to pick the stocks for you. He's going to buy the stocks, sell the stocks. He's looking at your money. So he's managing your money. He's picking the stocks. He's executing the trades. He's making that whole experience of owning individual stocks available to, hey, my son is 10 and my daughter is 8, or she'll be 8 next month. Or I'm moving so fast. She'll be 8 in November. Hey, I'm swinging so much in this head, I don't even know what month we're in. But anyway, both of them got Bob accounts because it all it requires money. And so, like, that's the strength of the app, man. And so we wanted this podcast as a way to put a face with what we got going on, right? And be able to kind of explain it, because we know traditionally this is not available. And the ways you have to get in the stock market today, especially when you're buying individual stocks, it requires a lot of knowledge, a lot of expertise in the area of studying and what stock to buy and all this stuff. And so we just wanted to remove that. You could start a Bob account with $100. That's it. Or you like, man, I got $100, man. I'm trying to do 100,000. Well, Bob, hey, look, already.
You got a million? You got a million?
Hey, Bob, ready. Hey, we got another product under the Let Bob brand. We got our own ETF. That's an exchange traded fund. I tell most people so they can kind of understand and think of a mutual fund, right? But we have one of those on the stock exchange. You can go in Google or go on your Robinhood or TD Ameritrade, whatever you got, if you got a brokerage account, and type in LETB, Let B. That's our ticker. But Bob trades that too. And it's 25. I think we got like 25 million there right now. So we know what we're doing in the technology that's driving this game. Like we real confident in it. And so that's why we want to put it in the hands of the culture. Get more of us access.
And that's what we're going to do, like, with this podcast. The whole reason for this podcast is to, like, introduce the people that, like, want to know from the perspective of people that look like them, that grew up in the communities like them. Hey, what's going on in the stock market? What's going on in the investing world? And just kind of like just financial literacy and education, just kind of keep you in the loop about what's going on. We're going to have guests. We're going to have a lot of special guests, some very popular ones, from some ones that, are making moves out here. So we're going to keep rolling, keep this ball going, and hopefully y'all stay in tune and join the movement.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And the guests be around finance, ownership, entrepreneurship. See, because the thing about the stock market, it underlies all of that. Right. So no matter what lane you in, I don't care what industry in, what you do, what your profession is, you're affected by the stock market. So for us, when we're bringing in our guests, we're trying to bring in people from different professions so you can see how the stock market play a role in each of the professions. And what we also want to do is make sure when we're using financial terms that you'll hear if you're watching the news or you're reading on Google, we want to try to make sure we explain stuff. We're going to try our best not to just run over, different financial expressions.
Without educating you about what it is. Like, we're going to speak to you like a golden retriever. That's a quote from a movie, Margin Call.
Yeah. Meaning just in simplicity so that everybody in the room can get it. You know what I mean? So like that's our goal with this podcast is just we're going to be laid back. We might not have the English everybody want us to have. They might talk about our Southern accent, but hey, I embrace it. I'm a country boy, man. And I love it. We're changing for the world, man. I got, a lot in store with this Let Bob movement, man. So when you see the BOB, understand it's a movement. It's about impacting change in this culture, man. And you're going to feel it. And we want to align wherever we can. We're working with HBCUs. As I told you, I'm a FAMU grad, so I'm excited to be able to go back to my university and bring something of value to the students and professors and, just the organization in itself, man. Like, that's a big deal for me. because I'm a giving spirit. And so to be able to do that and it's real, that's cool. But thank you for listening. We look forward to sharing information and changing your outlook on finance. Hopefully we empower you financially and educate you around financial literacy.
Yeah, because that's more of a social media thing. This guy here does no social media, so I'm gonna let y'all know that out the gate. Reach out to us. We are Let Bob on Instagram.
Man, I got social media. You can find me. I am Let Bob. Find me on Instagram, Twitter. I think that's all I'm on.
Definitely not gonna be any posts. So go to the main page. We are Let Bob.
I got posts. My last video had 3,200 views.
You did.
But
that's
we
a wrap, y'all. Good to see y'all later.
I gotta keep it real. J.E. Get 'em.